Amber woke to soft chimes filling her room aboard the celestial vessel. For a moment she forgot where she was, thinking she was back in her apartment in Seattle. Then reality rushed back. She was on an alien spaceship billions of miles from Earth, helping an advanced civilization solve their ethical dilemma. She sat up and noticed fresh clothing had been placed nearby. The fabric felt impossibly soft, yet sturdy. After changing, she found Lyra waiting outside her door. "Did you rest well?" Lyra asked, her musical voice somehow both soothing and otherworldly. "Better than I expected," Amber admitted. "Considering I'm sleeping in space today, we will show you more of the Vex, and our preliminary research Zenith awaits us in the simulation chamber." As they walked through the corridors of the ship, other aliens nodded respectfully to Amber. Their expressions were subtle, but she could sense curiosity in their glowing eyes. "Do all of your people know why I'm here?" Amber asked. "Yes," Lyra replied. "This mission is considered of highest importance. The Celestial Coalition has never before brought a human to our ship." That made Amber feel both special and nervous. She was representing all of humanity to these advanced beings. When they arrived at the simulation, Chamber Zenith greeted them with a slight bow. "Amber Taylor, I have prepared extended simulations of the Vex Society for your observation." "Thank you," Amber said, stepping onto the platform. Once again, the room transformed around her. This time she found herself in what appeared to be a Vex settlement. Simple dwellings made of natural materials formed a circle around a central gathering place. The Vex moved about their daily activities. Some crafted tools, others prepared food, while younger ones played games that seemed to develop coordination and problem-solving skills. Amber observed carefully, noting how their society functioned. They appeared to have a cooperative structure without rigid hierarchy. Different individuals took leadership, roles based on the task at hand. Their communication consisted of gestures, sounds, and simple symbols marked on materials. "How long have you been observing them?" Amber asked. Knowing Zenith and Lyra could hear her, "Approximately 2 of your Earth years," Zenith replied. "They have made remarkable progress in that time. We have documented significant advances in their tool-making and symbolic communication. Show me how they react to new things." Amber requested. The simulation shifted, showing a scene where the Vex discovered an unfamiliar fruit. Their approach was methodical. First they observed it, then the bravest among them touched it carefully. Finally, after determining it seemed safe, they attempted to eat it. When it proved beneficial, they shared the discovery with others. "Fascinating," Amber murmured. "They're collaborative and methodical. They also demonstrate what you might call teaching," Lyra added. The simulation changed again, showing an elder Vex demonstrating tool-making to younger ones. Amber walked through the simulated village, studying everything. "Could I see the resources you need to extract and where they're located in relation to their settlements?" The view shifted, showing a geological cross-section beneath the village and surrounding areas. Glowing veins of minerals ran deep underground, with the richest deposits directly beneath the main settlement. "That complicates things," Amber said. "If you mine there, you'll disrupt their entire community." "We have determined that the richest deposits are indeed beneath their primary dwelling sites," Zenith confirmed. "This is part of our ethical dilemma." Amber continued observing for hours, asking questions, considering possibilities. The Vex were more advanced than Earth's early hominids in some ways, particularly in their social cooperation. Their curiosity about their environment suggested they might adapt to changes if introduced gradually. "Let me see your extraction technology," Amber finally requested. The simulation changed to show sleek machines that seemed to phase through solid matter without disrupting it. "Our quantum extraction technology allows us to remove resources with minimal physical disturbance," Lyra explained. "However, even with this technology, the process creates energy, signatures, and subtle vibrations that would be detectable to the Vex. It would change their perception of their world." Amber thought about her students again, about how they responded to changes in their environment, how some changes frightened them, while others inspired curiosity and growth. "I need to see more of how they respond to natural phenomena," she said. "Do they have storms or earthquakes on this world? How do they react to those?" The simulation shifted again, showing the Vex responding to a mild earthquake. They took shelter but showed no panic. After the event, they explored the changes to their environment with interest, examining new cracks in the ground or fallen objects. "I think I'm starting to see a possibility," Amber said. "Let me sleep on it tomorrow." "I want to test some ideas." Zenith ended the simulation and Amber found herself back in the chamber. "You have given us much to consider," Zenith said. "Your approach is different from ours. You observe their behavior patterns more than their technological development. Humans understand that technology is just a tool." Amber explained, "It's the social and adaptive patterns that truly define a species' potential." They escorted her to a dining area, where food that resembled Earth cuisine awaited her. Though it looked familiar, the flavors were subtly different, not unpleasant, just strange. While eating, Amber asked more questions about the Celestial Coalition, learning about their history and culture. "Our civilization spans 12 star systems," Lyra explained. "We evolved on Lumina, but as our technology advanced, we spread outward. We have existed as a unified coalition for over 10,000 of your years. And in all that time, you've never faced an ethical dilemma like this?" Amber asked. "We have faced similar challenges, but the Vex are unique. Their developmental trajectory suggests they may one day reach a level similar to humans. That potential makes our decisions now even more significant." After the meal, Amber was shown to a chamber that Lyra called the Knowledge Nexus, a room where information could be accessed through an interface adapted for human use. "I would like to learn more about your history with similar situations," Amber said as she spoke. The air before her filled with glowing symbols that somehow made sense to her mind. They showed previous encounters with developing species and the Coalition's decisions. Amber spent hours studying these cases, noting similarities and differences to the current situation. With each case, she asked herself what she would have done differently, if anything, how a human perspective might have changed the outcome. Finally, exhaustion overtook her and she returned to her quarters. Her mind buzzed with half-formed ideas, possibilities, and questions. She felt both overwhelmed by the responsibility and excited by the challenge. As she drifted to sleep, she wondered what her students would think if they knew their teacher was in space, helping aliens solve an interstellar ethical dilemma. The next morning after breakfast, Amber returned to the simulation chamber with renewed purpose. "I want to try something," she told Zenith and Lyra. "Show me what would happen if you introduced small controlled energy signatures similar to your extraction technology, but without actually mining. Just enough for the Vex to notice." The simulation played out, showing the Vex responding with initial caution, followed by investigation. They seemed particularly interested in areas where the energy signatures caused subtle changes to their environment. "Now show me what happens if you gradually increase these signatures over time, but introduce them as natural phenomena, like the earthquakes they already understand." The simulation adjusted, showing the Vex adapting to these changes. They began to avoid areas with the strongest signatures while continuing to use areas with milder effects. They even incorporated the phenomena into what appeared to be simple spiritual rituals. "I see a pattern forming," Amber said. "Could your technology create these signatures in a way that would naturally guide the Vex away from the areas with the richest mineral deposits, while still allowing them to thrive in other regions?" "Our technology could indeed be calibrated in such a way," Zenith confirmed. "But would this not still be manipulation of their development?" "Yes and no," Amber replied. "All species adapt to changes in their environment. It's part of evolution. You're not stopping their development, just guiding its direction. They would still make their own choices about how to respond. What if they choose to investigate rather than avoid these areas?" Lyra asked. "Then you adjust gradually." Amber explained. "It's like teaching. You provide information, then allow them to respond. You adapt your approach based on their reaction." The celestial beings exchanged looks that Amber couldn't quite interpret. "Your approach is both simpler and more complex than what we considered," Zenith said. "It requires constant adjustment and patience rather than a single solution. That's how humans solve problems." Amber said, "We rarely find perfect answers. Instead, we adapt and adjust as we go." For the next several hours, they ran different simulations, testing variations of Amber's approach. The results were promising. In most scenarios, the Vex gradually migrated away from the richest mineral deposits, allowing the Coalition to extract what they needed, while the native species continued to develop naturally. By evening, they had developed a preliminary plan. A series of carefully calibrated energy signatures would be introduced over several years, mimicking natural phenomena. The Vex would likely adapt by shifting their settlements away from these areas, allowing for minimally invasive resource extraction. When we implement this plan, we would continue to monitor their development and adjust our approach as needed, Zenith explained. Amber stood with Zenith and Lyra in what they called the observation deck of the celestial vessel. The vast window before them showed a stunning view of space with stars scattered across the darkness like diamonds on black velvet. We will reach Teralis tomorrow, Zenith informed her. The journey would normally take much longer, but our ship uses quantum folding to shorten the distance. Amber tried to comprehend traveling faster than light, but the concept was beyond her understanding. Instead, she focused on what she could grasp. Have you decided if you wish to observe the implementation of your plan or return to Earth? Lyra asked. Amber had been struggling with this decision since they finalized the approach yesterday. Part of her wanted to see the Vex in person to witness the beginning of this momentous project. Another part wanted to return to the comfortable familiarity of her classroom and students. I want to see it through, she said finally. At least the initial phase I helped create this plan. I should see how it begins. Zenith nodded with what Amber interpreted as approval. Though the aliens' expressions were subtle, she was learning to read them better. There is something we have not yet shared with you, Lyra said, her tone more serious. You are not the first human to visit our ship. Amber turned from the window with surprise. What do you mean? Throughout Earth's history, we have occasionally invited humans to assist us with various challenges, Zenith explained. Most were returned to their time with no memory of the experience. But as humans have advanced, we have begun allowing some to retain their memories. Why? Amber asked. Your species is approaching a critical developmental stage, Lyra replied. Within a few generations, you will develop technology allowing regular interstellar travel. When that happens, formal contact between our civilizations will be inevitable. We are preparing for that day by introducing human perspectives into our council. So I'm part of some preparation program in a sense, yes. But your contribution is also valuable for its own sake. The plan you developed for the Vex situation has merit beyond our expectations. Amber felt a mix of emotions. Pride that her solution was valued. Confusion about being part of some larger alien agenda. Concern about what this meant for Earth's future. Are there other aliens out there besides your people? She asked. Many, Zenith confirmed. The galaxy contains numerous intelligent species at various stages of development. The Celestial Coalition maintains relations with 12 advanced civilizations and monitors 47 developing ones, including Earth. Amber leaned against the window frame, feeling suddenly overwhelmed. How many people on Earth know about this? Very few, Lyra said. Primarily certain government officials and selected individuals like yourself. Most humans who know of our existence are sworn to secrecy. That explains all those conspiracy theories about government contact with aliens, Amber murmured. They weren't completely wrong. We have found that gradual introduction is less disruptive than sudden revelation, Zenith explained. Each civilization must come to terms with cosmic awareness in their own time. Amber gazed back. Out at the stars, she had always believed there must be other life in the universe. But the reality of it, the scale and complexity, was staggering. Do all these civilizations get along? She asked. Not always, Lyra admitted. There are philosophical differences about how advanced species should interact with developing ones. Some believe in complete non-interference. Others favor more direct guidance. Our coalition takes a middle path, like what we're doing with the Vex. Precisely, we seek to minimize harm while acknowledging that our very existence creates ripples in the cosmic fabric. All actions have consequences, whether we choose to interact or not. Amber considered this. The weight of such decisions, the responsibility these beings carried. And now she was part of it. Will I be allowed to tell anyone about this when I return home? That is your choice, Zenith said. But consider who would believe you without evidence, and what purpose would it serve? Your world is not yet ready for full disclosure, Amber nodded, understanding the wisdom in this. Who would believe her anyway? She would sound like someone who'd lost touch with reality. For the remainder of the day, Amber was shown more of the ship. She visited engineering sections where technology beyond her comprehension powered the massive vessel. She toured biological research facilities, where alien plants and microorganisms were studied. She even visited what appeared to be artistic spaces, where coalition members created beautiful objects and experiences in each area. She noticed how the aliens worked together seamlessly. Their society seemed to function without the conflicts and power struggles so common on Earth. Yet they still valued individuality, creativity, and diverse perspectives. That evening, as she ate dinner in her quarters, Amber reflected on everything she had learned. She was no longer just helping with the Vex situation. She was part of something much larger, a gradual cosmic introduction, a preparation for humanity's future among the stars. The next morning, Amber was awakened by Lyra's musical voice. "We have arrived at Taralis," she announced. "We are in orbit around the planet. Would you like to see?" Amber quickly dressed and followed Lyra to the observation deck. The view had changed dramatically. Instead of endless space, a beautiful planet filled the window. Its surface was mostly land with scattered blue seas. The continents had a reddish hue while clouds swirled in the atmosphere. "It's beautiful," Amber whispered. "Indeed." Zenith agreed, joining them. "Taralis is younger than Earth. Its life has followed a different evolutionary path, but there are remarkable similarities. The Vex emerged as the dominant species, much as humans did on your world." "How close can we get to them?" Amber asked. "We will use an observation pod," Lyra explained. "It allows us to view them directly while remaining undetected." Hours later, Amber found herself in a small craft descending through the atmosphere of an alien world. The pod, as they called, it was transparent on all sides, giving her a panoramic view of the landscape below. The terrain reminded her of Earth's Badlands, rocky with sparse vegetation in shades of purple and blue rather than green. The pod slowed as they approached what Amber recognized as the main Vex settlement. She had seen it in simulations, but now it was real. Actual aliens going about their daily lives, unaware they were being observed. The pod hovered silently above the settlement, close enough that Amber could see individual Vex clearly. They were smaller than she expected, standing about 4 feet tall. Their bodies were covered in short brownish fur with longer tufts on their heads. Their faces had large eyes, 2 small breathing holes instead of a nose, and a mouth that seemed capable of complex movements. Their hands had 6 fingers, and they walked upright with a slight bounce to their step. "They look so much more alive than in the simulations," Amber said, watching as they moved about their village. Some worked with tools, crafting objects or structures. Others prepared food in communal cooking areas. Young ones played games that seemed to develop both physical skills and problem-solving abilities. "They have a complex social structure," Zenith explained. "Each contributes according to their abilities. They lack formal leadership, but certain individuals emerge as guides for specific activities. Now we will implement the first phase of your plan," Lyra said. From beneath the pod, a small device was deployed. It descended to the ground at the edge of the village, far enough away to avoid immediate detection. The device burrowed into the soil until only a small sensor remained visible. "The energy signature generator is now active," Zenith informed Amber. "It will produce very subtle vibrations and electromagnetic patterns mimicking natural geological activity. The effects will be barely noticeable at first, increasing gradually over many months." "How long before they begin to respond?" Amber asked. "Based on our simulations, it may take several weeks before they become aware of the changes," Lyra replied. "Then we expect they will investigate cautiously. After approximately 6 months, they should begin adapting their settlement patterns, gradually moving away from the affected areas and your mining operations. We will not begin extraction until they have completely abandoned the richest deposit areas," Zenith said. "That may take 2 to 3 years. We are prepared to be patient." Amber watched the Vex, feeling both fascination and concern. Were they doing the right thing? These beings had no say in what was happening to them, no understanding of the forces that would shape their future. Yet the alternative was to let the coalition suffer resource shortages or to take what they needed through more disruptive means. They deployed 4 more devices at strategic locations around the settlement, each one calibrated to create a specific pattern of energy signatures that would gently encourage the Vex to migrate in the desired direction. This is only the beginning, Lyra explained. We will monitor their responses, continuously adjusting the signatures as needed. Your plan requires flexibility and ongoing assessment. Amber nodded. It's like teaching. You start with a lesson plan but adapt based on how the students respond. The pod ascended back toward the ship, Amber watching the village grow smaller below them. She felt an unexpected connection to these aliens. She had never met. She had helped shape their future in ways they would never understand. The responsibility of that was both thrilling and sobering. Back on the ship, Amber was shown to the long-term monitoring station, where coalition scientists would track the Vex response to the energy signatures. Displays showed real-time data from the devices as well as ongoing simulations predicting possible outcomes. When Amber opened her eyes that morning, she found herself staring at a tall figure standing at the foot of her bed. The figure had blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the morning light, long silver hair and eyes that glowed like distant stars. Amber froze. Her heart pounded in her chest as she realized this was not a human woman, but something entirely different. The alien woman stood nearly 7 feet tall, with elegant limbs that seemed too long for a human frame. She wore what appeared to be some kind of uniform made from a material that shifted colors like oil on water. The alien woman raised her hand in what seemed to be a greeting. Then, to Amber's surprise, she spoke in perfect English. Hello, Amber Taylor. I am Lyra, ambassador of the Celestial Coalition. I apologize for entering your dwelling without permission, but my mission is of utmost importance. Amber slowly sat up, clutching her blanket to her chest. She had always believed aliens existed somewhere in the vast universe, but never imagined one would appear in her bedroom on a Tuesday morning. How do you know my name? What are you doing here? Amber managed to ask, her voice barely above a whisper. Lyra moved with fluid grace to sit in the chair near Amber's desk. We have been monitoring Earth for centuries. We know much about humans. Our technology allows us to understand your languages and customs. But why me? Amber asked. You are special. Amber Taylor. Lyra's voice had a musical quality to it. Our scans detected something unusual about you, something that makes you uniquely qualified to help us. Amber laughed nervously. I'm just a teacher. There's nothing special about me. Lyra tilted her head, her silver hair catching the light. That is where you are incorrect. According to our analysis, you possess a rare genetic trait that allows you to adapt to different environments faster than 99% of your species. This makes you ideal for our needs. Amber's mind raced. Was this some elaborate prank? Had she finally lost it from working too many late nights grading papers? I need you to come with me, Lyra continued. My people face a challenge we cannot overcome alone. We need a human perspective on our problem, one that might save us from a terrible fate. And you chose a random woman from Seattle for this, not random selected. Our scientists spent years searching for the right human. Lyra stood again, her height making the bedroom feel suddenly smaller. We need someone who can think differently than us, who can adapt to our world quickly. My species has evolved in ways that limit us for the current situation we face. Amber ran her hand through her messy brown hair, trying to process what was happening. So what happens if I say no? Then I leave and we select our second choice. But Amber Taylor, we believe you give us the highest probability of success. Time is critical for my people. Something in Lyra's voice made Amber believe her. Despite the absurdity of the situation, she felt the weight of truth in the alien's words. How long would I be gone? Amber asked. 3 of your Earth weeks. We can return you to this exact moment in time if you wish. Our technology allows for temporal manipulation on a limited scale. Amber stood up slowly, her mind already calculating possibilities. Let me get this straight. You want me to go to your spaceship, help you solve some problem that your entire advanced alien civilization can't figure out, and then you'll bring me back home as if no time has passed? Lyra nodded. That is correct. And if I refuse, something terrible happens to your people. That is also correct. Amber took a deep breath. I need coffee before making decisions like this. 20 minutes later, Amber sat at her kitchen table, coffee mug in hand, while the alien ambassador stood by the window gazing out at the city with apparent fascination. Your world has such diversity, Lyra commented. My planet Lumina has become uniform over millennia. Our evolutionary path led to similarity, while yours led to variation. That is why we need you. Amber considered her options. She had always lived a predictable life, teaching her students, paying her bills, planning for a future that looked much like her present. This was insane, and yet something inside her sparked with excitement. What exactly is the problem you need help with? Amber asked. Our people have discovered a new world rich with resources we need, but the native species there is primitive, yet shows signs of emerging intelligence. Our ethical protocols prevent us from simply taking what we need, but we must find a way to coexist or our civilization will suffer greatly. We need a human perspective on how to approach this situation. Amber nearly choked on her coffee. You're telling me you want my help too? Avoid becoming space colonizers. A simplified explanation, but essentially correct. We do not wish to harm another species as they develop, but we need the resources their world provides. And you think I can help figure out a solution that benefits everyone? We believe you can see possibilities we cannot. Your species has a unique history with this very problem. That is why humans understand this issue in ways we cannot. Amber set down her mug. Let me pack a bag. That will not be necessary. Our ship can create anything you require. An hour later, after Amber had called in sick to work and texted her friend Olivia to check on her plants, she stood in her living room with Lyra. Are you ready? The alien asked. Amber nodded, though she felt anything but ready. I should warn you, Lyra added. The transition may cause temporary disorientation. Before Amber could ask what that meant, the room around them dissolved into particles of light. Amber experienced a moment of weightlessness, followed by the sensation of being stretched like taffy. Then suddenly she was standing in a vast chamber with walls that glowed with soft blue light. The air smelled like nothing she had ever encountered before, clean, but with hints of something floral. Welcome to the Celestial Vessel, Lyra said. This is our primary exploration. Ship Amber stared in awe at the space around her. Other aliens moved about the chamber, all tall and elegant like Lyra, though with varying skin colors ranging from deep blue to pale lavender. Their movements were graceful, almost dance-like. These are my colleagues, Lyra explained. They have been eagerly awaiting your arrival. One of the aliens approached, a male with skin the color of twilight, and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. He bowed, slightly to Amber. I am Zenith, Chief Explorer of the Celestial Coalition. We are honored by your presence. Amber Taylor of Earth. Amber felt suddenly self-conscious in her hastily chosen jeans and sweater standing among these elegant beings. I'm not sure how much help I'll be, but I'll try. Zenith gestured for Amber to follow. We have prepared a space for you to work. The situation is complex, but we believe your unique perspective will allow you to see solutions we cannot as they walk through. The ship Amber noticed that everything seemed to flow organically. No sharp edges or right angles existed anywhere. Surfaces rippled with subtle patterns that seemed almost alive. They entered a smaller chamber, where a circular platform of some kind waited in the center. This is our simulator, Zenith explained. It will show you the world we have discovered and the challenge we face. Amber approached the platform cautiously. How exactly am I supposed to help solve your ethical dilemma? I'm just an elementary school teacher. Your profession is why we selected you, Lyra said, joining them. Your work with young developing minds gives you insight into nurturing potential without controlling it. The very balance we seek. Amber stepped onto the platform, and immediately the air around her transformed into a vibrant display of light. The ship disappeared, and she found herself standing on what appeared to be an alien world. The sky was a deep purple color, and strange plant life surrounded her so. Ground beneath her feet had a reddish hue. "This is Taralis Zenith's voice," explained, though Amber could no longer see him. "The world we discovered. Its native species is at a stage similar to your early hominids, but showing remarkable progress." Amber watched as creatures moved through the landscape. They walked on two legs with bodies covered in what looked like short fur. They used simple tools and communicated with each other through gestures and sounds. "They are called the Vex," Lyra added, "and this is their home world, but beneath its surface lies minerals essential to our survival." The simulation changed, showing vast underground deposits glowing with energy. Or scientists predict that within 20 years, these resources will become critical to maintaining our civilization's basic functions. Without them, millions of my people will suffer. Amber studied the simulation carefully. "What have you tried so far?" "We considered trading with them, but they lack the comprehension for such negotiations. We considered taking small amounts gradually, but even this would disrupt their development. We considered abandoning the planet entirely, but our projections showed dire consequences for our people." Amber thought about her students, how she guided them without controlling them, how she helped them develop their own solutions to problems. How do the Vex respond to newcomers, she asked. The simulation shifted again, showing the creatures reacting with curiosity rather than fear to new things in their environment. "Interesting," Amber murmured. "They're naturally curious. That could be important." For the next several hours, Amber observed the simulated world, asking questions, learning about both the Vex and the Celestial Coalition's needs. She began to see patterns, possibilities. The Celestial Coalition had advanced technology that could extract resources with minimal disruption. The Vex had a natural curiosity and adaptability. The solution might lie in finding a way to turn what could be exploitation into cooperation, even with beings not yet capable of understanding the full situation. As night fell on the ship, at least what Amber perceived as night, though time seemed different. 6 months had passed since Amber's return from the celestial vessel. She had settled back into her life as an elementary school teacher, yet everything felt different. The world seemed smaller, somehow less significant now that she knew what existed beyond Earth. Her students still delighted her, their curiosity and growth still mattered, but she carried a secret knowledge that colored every moment. The crystal pendant remained hidden beneath her clothing, always warm against her skin, a constant reminder that her experience had been real. She never spoke of it to anyone, knowing they would think her delusional or worse. On a crisp autumn evening, as Amber graded papers in her apartment, she felt the pendant grow suddenly hot, not painfully, so but noticeably warmer than usual. She pulled it out, looking at it curiously. The crystal pulsed with soft light, something it had never done before. What does this mean? She wondered aloud. As if in response, the air before her shimmered, and a small, holographic projection appeared floating above her coffee table. The image showed Lyra, her blue skin and silver hair unmistakable, even in miniature, Amber Taylor of Earth. Lyra's voice came from the projection. "I hope this message finds you well. I have an unexpected development regarding the Vex situation. Your input is required. The pendant will guide you to our meeting location if you choose to come." The projection faded, leaving Amber staring at empty air. Her heart raced with excitement and apprehension. They needed her again. But for what? The situation with the Vex had been proceeding according to plan. As far as she knew, she held the pendant in her hand, uncertain. It grew warmer and seemed to pull gently in a specific direction, like a compass, leading her somewhere. Amber glanced at her watch. It was Friday evening. She didn't have school until Monday. Whatever this was, she had time to investigate. She grabbed her jacket, keys, and phone, then hesitated. What if this took longer than a weekend? What if she needed to return to the ship? She quickly packed a small bag with essentials and called her friend Olivia. "Hey," Amber said when Olivia answered. "I might be going out of town for the weekend." Something unexpected came up. "Can you check on my place if I'm not back by Monday?" "Sure," Olivia replied. "Where are you headed?" Just a last-minute trip, Amber said vaguely. Nothing to worry about. After hanging up, Amber followed the pendant's pull. It led her out of her apartment building and toward her car. The crystals seemed to be directing her to drive north out of the city. For nearly 2 hours, Amber drove along increasingly remote roads, the pendant guiding her with its gentle tugging. Finally, it led her to a narrow dirt road that wound through dense forest. Eventually, she came to a small clearing where she could drive no further. She parked and continued on foot, the pendant pulling her along a barely visible path. The forest was dark, but somehow the crystal emitted enough light to show her the way. After 20 minutes of hiking, Amber emerged into another clearing, this one perfectly circular as if artificially created. In the center stood Lyra, her tall form unmistakable in the moonlight. "Amber Taylor," Lyra greeted. "Her thank you for coming." Amber approached, still hardly believing what she was seeing. "What's happening? Why am I here?" "The Vex situation has developed in unexpected ways," Lyra explained. "We need your human perspective once more. Is something wrong with the plan? Not wrong precisely," Lyra said. "But the Vex have responded differently than our simulations predicted. They have shown remarkable adaptation. Instead of avoiding the energy signatures as expected, they have begun to incorporate them into their development." "What do you mean?" Amber asked. Lyra gestured with her long, elegant fingers, and a holographic display appeared between them. Showing the Vex settlement, Amber could see that it had changed significantly since her visit. The structures were more sophisticated, and oddly they seemed to be concentrated near the energy signature devices rather than away from them. "They are using the energy patterns," Lyra explained. "They have discovered that certain tools work more efficiently when crafted. Within the signature fields, they are developing technologies based on principles they should not encounter." For thousands of years, Amber stared at the display with surprise. The Vex were supposed to gradually move away from these areas. Instead, they were building around them, exploiting the energy patterns for their own purposes. "We face a new ethical dilemma," Lyra continued. "If we continue with the plan, the Vex will advance technologically at an accelerated rate. If we withdraw the devices now, their development will be disrupted in different ways. The Council is divided on how to proceed." "Why come to me?" Amber asked. "I'm just a teacher. Your understanding of developmental patterns proved valuable before," Lyra said. "And you bring a human perspective. That differs from our own. We believe you can help us find a balanced approach once more." Amber studied the holographic images, watching the Vex move about their settlement. They seemed more organized now, their movements more purposeful. Their tools were more sophisticated, and she noticed they had begun creating what looked like simple machines using the energy fields. "How long would I be gone this time?" she asked. "Longer than before," Lyra admitted. "Perhaps several weeks, but, as before, we can return you to shortly after you left Earth time." Several weeks, Amber thought of her students, her responsibilities, her life. But how could she refuse? This was literally an alien civilization asking for her help. And she was curious about what was happening. "With the Vex all right," she agreed. "I'll help if I can." Lyra nodded with what seemed like relief. "Then we must depart immediately. The situation requires prompt attention." Before Amber could ask how they would get to the ship, the clearing filled with shimmering light. She felt the now familiar sensation of transition, and suddenly found herself in the transport chamber of the celestial vessel Zenith waited for them, his expression solemn. "Welcome back, Amber Taylor. Your return is most fortuitous." Amber followed them to the command center of the ship, where multiple holographic displays showed different aspects of the Vex situation. Other coalition members worked at various stations, their movements graceful and efficient. "The ship is already in orbit around Taralis," Lyra explained. "We can take an observation pod to the surface whenever you are ready." Amber needed no preparation. "Let's go now. I want to see what's happening firsthand." Soon they were descending through the atmosphere of Taralis in the same type of observation pod Amber had used before. As they approached the Vex settlement, she could see dramatic changes. The simple structures she remembered had been replaced with more complex buildings. Some incorporated what appeared to be rudimentary machines. The Vex themselves moved with greater purpose. They had organized into what seemed like specialized groups. Some focused on construction, others on tool-making, still others on what might be early scientific experimentation. They have advanced, approximately 500 years beyond where they should be, Zenith said, watching Amber's reaction. We estimate they have compressed millennia of natural development into months. How is that possible? Amber asked. The energy signatures we introduced seem to have stimulated their neural development, Lyra explained, enhancing their problem-solving abilities and creativity. The effects were subtle but compound over time. Amber watched as a group of Vex worked together to construct a device that appeared to amplify the energy from one of the signature generators. They were not just adapting to the alien technology. They were beginning to understand and harness it. This changes everything, she said softly. The plan assumed they would avoid these energy patterns. Now they're embracing them, building their society around them. That is our dilemma. Zenith confirmed. If we remove the devices now, we disrupt their development path. If we leave them, we artificially accelerate their evolution. We interfered once and now face the consequences of that choice. Amber considered the situation, applying what she knew about childhood development and learning patterns. When a child discovers something new that interests them, they often become fixated on it, she said eventually. They explore it from every angle, mastering it before moving on to new challenges. The Vex are behaving similarly. They've found something that stimulates their development, and they're focused on understanding it. What would you recommend? Lyra asked. Amber thought carefully. We need a transition plan, she said finally. Not an abrupt removal of the stimulus, but a gradual weaning. The energy signatures should be slowly reduced over time, allowing the Vex to develop their own technologies to replace what they're losing. Zenith nodded. That approach has merit but requires precise calibration. We would need to reduce the signatures at a rate that matches their development, neither too fast nor too slow, and we would need to monitor them closely. Amber added, adjusting the reduction based on how they respond. It's like scaffolding in education. You provide support, then gradually remove it as the learner becomes more capable. For several days, Amber worked with the coalition, scientists developing this new approach. They created simulations showing how the Vex might respond to different rates of energy reduction. They designed monitoring protocols to track developmental indicators. They prepared contingency plans for various possible outcomes. During this time, Amber learned more about the Celestial Coalition, their history, their values, their relationships with other species. She came to understand that while technologically advanced, they still faced challenges and uncertainties. They were not all-knowing or all-powerful, simply older and more experienced than humanity. 2 years passed since Amber's second journey aboard the celestial vessel. Her life had fallen into a comfortable pattern. She continued teaching, finding renewed joy in guiding her young students. She watched them with new eyes, seeing in their development echoes of what she'd witnessed with the Vex, the universal patterns of learning, growth, and adaptation. The pendant remained a constant presence around her neck. Sometimes she would catch herself touching it during quiet moments, a reminder of her secret connection to something beyond Earth. On a warm spring evening, as Amber sat on her balcony watching the sunset, the crystal suddenly grew warm against her skin, a now familiar sensation. It had been so long she had almost given up expecting another contact. The pendant pulsed with soft blue light. Amber felt her heart race with anticipation. Is it time again? She whispered. Instead of a holographic projection, the crystal emitted a soft voice recognizable as Lyra's. Amber. Taylor, your presence is requested. For a matter of great importance, a significant development requires your unique perspective. The Coalition Council awaits. The pendant tugged gently, providing direction as it had before. Amber wasted no time. She had prepared for this possibility, keeping a bag packed with essentials. After leaving messages for her school and friends explaining she needed to take emergency personal leave, she followed the pendant's guidance. This time it led her to a remote mountain location, a place of natural beauty far from human settlement. As she reached a plateau overlooking a valley, the air before her shimmered and the familiar transition began. Welcome back. Amber Taylor Zenith's voice greeted her as she materialized in the transport chamber of the celestial vessel. Your return is most timely. What's happening? Amber asked, noticing an unusual level of activity as they moved through the ship. Coalition members moved with greater urgency than she'd seen before. We face a pivotal moment, Zenith explained, as they walked. The Council has made a significant decision regarding Earth and we require your assistance. They entered what appeared to be the primary command center of the vessel. A circular room with multiple levels Coalition members worked at, various stations while a large holographic display dominated the center. The display showed Earth rotating slowly. Detailed and beautiful, the Celestial Coalition has voted to initiate formal contact with humanity. Lyra announced, joining them. This decision was not made lightly, but circumstances have accelerated our timeline. Amber stared at the holographic Earth, feeling suddenly lightheaded. Formal contact with all of humanity, not just selected individuals like her. Why now? She managed to ask multiple factors. Zenith replied, your species approaches technological thresholds that will soon make our presence known, regardless of our wishes. Your environmental challenges have reached critical levels, and a new discovery has altered our assessment. What discovery? Lyra gestured and the holographic display changed, showing what appeared to be an asteroid. Its surface was rocky and unremarkable, but something about it had clearly captured the Coalition's attention. This object was recently detected by your astronomers, Lyra explained. They believe it to be a simple asteroid, but our scans reveal it contains technology from an ancient civilization, one that vanished millions of years ago. Is it dangerous? Amber asked. Not directly, Zenith said. But the technology, if discovered by humans without proper understanding, could be catastrophic. Your scientists will detect its unusual properties within months. With your current space capabilities, you will likely send a mission to investigate within 2 years. And if they find this technology without understanding it, the results could range from merely disruptive to catastrophic. Lyra said, the artifacts contain principles your science is not prepared to comprehend, so you're going to intervene, Amber concluded. To prevent us from harming ourselves, that is one option, Zenith acknowledged. But the Council believes a more collaborative approach may be possible. That is why you are here. We need a human perspective on how best to introduce ourselves to your entire species. Amber felt overwhelmed by the responsibility. How would humanity react to the revelation that not only were they not alone in the universe, but that advanced civilizations had been watching them all along? Some would welcome the news, others would fear it. Governments would scramble for advantage, religious beliefs would be challenged, scientific paradigms would shift overnight. It's too much too fast, she said. Finally, humanity isn't ready for full disclosure. Not yet. We're still fighting amongst ourselves, still struggling with basic problems like climate change, inequality, resource distribution. Adding alien contact to that mix could push us into chaos. Lyra nodded. Your assessment aligns with some council members, but doing nothing is no longer an option. The asteroid approaches. Your scientists will discover its secrets with or without our intervention. What about a middle path? Amber suggested after thinking carefully. A limited contact approach. Reveal yourselves to key scientific and government leaders first. Help them understand the asteroid situation. Work together to ensure safe handling of the technology. The Coalition members exchanged looks, a staged disclosure. Zenith mused, beginning with those most equipped to understand the implications, then expanding gradually as your society adapts. Yes. Amber said, it would still be disruptive but less catastrophic than either extreme doing nothing or full public contact. The Council has considered similar approaches, Lyra acknowledged, but we required human insight on implementation. Who should be contacted? How the information should be presented? What reactions to expect? For several days, Amber worked with Coalition specialists developing a detailed contact plan. She helped identify which scientific institutions and government agencies would be most receptive, which individuals might serve as effective intermediaries. She outlined likely reactions, scenarios, and strategies for addressing them throughout. This process she learned more about the mysterious asteroid and its ancient technology. The civilization that created it had flourished millions of years ago, spreading throughout this arm of the galaxy, before mysteriously disappearing. Their artifacts remained scattered across many star systems, objects of study and sometimes concern for the Coalition. The technology on the approaching asteroid involved principles that could revolutionize human understanding of physics, but could also, if misunderstood, lead to disastrous experiments. The stakes were incredibly high. After finalizing the contact plan, Amber was invited to witness its implementation. An observation pod would take her and several Coalition representatives to Earth. They would remain cloaked but observe as the first carefully selected humans were approached. As they prepared for this mission, Amber was brought to a special chamber she had never seen before. "This is the historical nexus," Lyra explained, "the repository of our knowledge regarding Earth's development and our interactions with your species." The chamber contained what appeared to be a timeline, a three-dimensional representation of human history, with glowing points marking significant events. As Amber moved closer, she noticed that certain points were highlighted differently. These markers represent previous Coalition contacts with humans. Zenith said, "Some were planned, others were accidental. Some led to myths and legends, others to scientific breakthroughs or philosophical insights." Amber studied the timeline with fascination, seeing familiar historical events from this new perspective. Coalition representatives had been present during pivotal moments in human development, sometimes observing, sometimes gently influencing. Always careful not to disrupt humanity's natural evolution. "Have you ever directly interfered?" she asked. "Rarely," Lyra replied, "and only in cases where extinction-level threats emerged. Even then, our interventions were subtle, designed to be invisible, or attributed to natural causes." "Why show me this now?" Amber asked. "Because you should understand the context of what we are about to do." Zenith explained, "The upcoming contact represents a significant shift in our relationship with Earth. We have maintained distance for millennia. Now we step into the light. This transition must be handled with extraordinary care." Amber felt the weight of history in that moment, understood that she stood at a pivotal juncture between humanity's past and its future. Next day, they departed for Earth. The observation pod was larger than those Amber had used before, designed to accommodate a small team of Coalition specialists. Along with Amber, Lyra, and Zenith, 5 other Coalition members joined the mission, each with expertise in different aspects of human society. As they approached Earth, Amber felt a surge of emotion seeing her home planet from space. The blue marble suspended in darkness, beautiful and fragile. "Our first contact will be with a scientific team at your space agency," Zenith explained. "They have been tracking the asteroid and have already detected some anomalous readings. They are best positioned to understand the implications of what we will share." The pod descended, entering Earth's atmosphere. With no visible effect from friction or air resistance, its cloaking technology rendered it completely invisible to human detection systems. They hovered above a large research facility where scientists worked unaware of the observers. "From here, we will initiate contact," Lyra said. "A selected individual will receive a communication through their computer system, carefully crafted to be understood as deliberate contact rather than malfunction or intrusion.